Hello, fellow librarians. The title of this presentation is Librarians and Work Integrated Learning, Together Online. I'm Shelley Woods, the Faculty of Animation, Arts, and Design, otherwise known as FAD, Liaison Librarian and User Education Coordinator for Sheridan College. And I am joined today by Game Design Professor Rafael Tetreault. In the next few minutes, I will provide an overview of Sheridan's virtual internship program and how I supported 28 students from across 3 programs. I will highlight 2 of the projects in more detail. To conclude, I will share a couple of my takeaways from the experience and tips for getting involved at your own college. In March of 2020, when the pandemic moved a lot of Canadian college programming online, Sheridan responded by creating a virtual internship program. VIP co-op projects were set up by co-op advisors, and most had oversight by Sheridan professors. We functioned together as teams. I worked with 6 students from Craft and Design who were building a repository of content related to digital design and manufacturing. To get the students started, I created a list of best bet databases and noted some research tips and tricks. I had regular team meetings with 19 game design students working on projects for Professors Rafael Tetreault and Jose Ruda related to farming, peacekeeping, COVID, robots for seniors, and military training. With such a wide variety of projects, I located articles, books, and videos about peacekeeping and child protection, caring for seniors, and open source learning management systems. We met often with industry partners. Finally, I helped 3 interior design students with 2 projects. One project was designing a therapeutic riding residence on a farm, and the other was redesigning corporate spaces to safely reopen after the challenges caused by the pandemic.
I'm Raphael, and I co-taught the Special Topics in Applied Game Design course with Shelley. Prior to the pandemic, we had a visit to our classes from Mindy, a social robots robot for seniors. We ended the semester teaching online and posted a co-op position to design an interactive game for Mindy for seniors. Shelley found and shared articles about designing games for seniors in iAdvise development processes. The game design students designed a trivia game with questions about geography, film, television, music, and history that allowed seniors to play together and that draws on their long-term memory. The game was played with seniors in a residence in Oakville.
The second VIP project that I will describe in more detail is a residence at Sunrise Therapeutic Riding and Learning Centre in Puslinch, Ontario. Following public health guidelines, I visited the site with the interior design co-op advisor and students. During the site visit, we learned about the mission of the center and the scope of the project. In the days following our visit, I sent resources to the students and architect related to autism, Snowsland rooms, and color. The students learned about the center and the needs of people who benefit from the programming. Thoughtful consideration was given to all of the design decisions. In the students' own words, after conducting our research, we learned that green and blue promote calmness and feelings of well-being, relax the nervous system, lessen feelings of stress, and help with communication and speech development. Here is another of their drawings. Sheridan Curiosities publication wrote an article about the Sunrise Project. Based on the success of this project, it was presented at the Sheridan Creates conference and added to Sheridan's digital repository. The talented and dedicated students were also awarded FAD Co-op Student of the Year awards. So, what can we librarians learn from these VIP projects? Librarians have research expertise to contribute to co-op projects. And virtual co-op placements can be equally as meaningful and rewarding as on-site placements. To conclude, I want to share a few thoughts about how librarians can best align ourselves with virtual internships or co-op placements. First, collaborate. If it were not for strong working relationships, with professors and co-op advisors, I would not have been invited to contribute. Next, be confident contributors. Librarians can help with more than the research essay and APA. And finally, roll up your sleeves and jump in. Go where the research takes you. It is not always inside of libraries. Sometimes it's alongside robots or on farms.
Hello, colleagues. My name is Shernette, and my topic for today is setting the trend for UDL at Humber Libraries. A colleague asked why UDL. My response was I enrolled in the Inclusive Curricular Design program for faculty, and now I'm hooked on UDL. Let me highlight a few factors that are driving UDL in Canada and Humber College. In the past 3 decades, a rapid shifting of medical model of disability to a social one. Multiculturalism entangled with EDI and migration of learners with varying intersectionality and mindset. 6,500 international students enrolled at Humber College in 2020. Training for faculty in UDL. With the libraries being the nucleus of the learning process, we must set the trend. At the end of this presentation, learners will have a better understanding of UDL guidelines, see UDL checkpoints at work in the Humber Library environment, and identify future strategies. UDL is an educational framework for creating barrier-free, instructionally rich environments and curriculum that allows for inclusion of many different types of learning preferences and provide access to all learners. UDL has 3 principles. The principle of multiple means of engagement has to do with the affective networks of the brain stimulating interest and motivating students to learn. The principle of multiple means of representation, this is a recognition network of the brain which helps learners to perceive and comprehend and present information and content in different ways. Finally, multiple means of action and expression principle activates the strategic and creative networks of the brain. The principle is strategic for goal-oriented learners and differentiate the ways that learners can express what they know. Did you know that the creators of UDL says that the guidelines are not just for educators, but for anyone who wants to implement the framework? It is with this notion that the library is minimizing threats and distraction by creating safe and accepting space for all learners to engage. We facilitate drop-in for peer-assisted learning, collaborative space for learner preferences, virtual library tours, friendly library policies to allow for snacking while collaborating and studying, welcoming staff to engage learners, and schedule appointments for group or individual with librarians. It is a great opportunity for mental stimulation, motivation, and feedback. Multiple means of representation. The library customizes the display of information for students, faculty, and staff through a variety of means and formats for greater flexibility, visibility, and manipulation. The formats include the new scanning service, which is converting printed chapters into digital formats. Ebooks and e-texts were purchased. We expanded the streaming video collection and we mounted library signs with text and image. How does the library provide multiple means of action and expression? The Idea Lab at the library wholeheartedly facilitates the use of multiple media for communication. The learners can express themselves through the art of 3D animation, podcasting, storytelling, and interactive web designs. Future strategies for UDL at Humber Libraries. Librarians will be able to design their lesson and assessment with a UDL approach. More staff will be made aware and trained in UDL. Library policies will be revisited and examined through the UDL lens. Tutorials could be designed for recurring lessons. Library website and content will be accessibility compliant. Colleagues, get into that mindset and start thinking UDL today. As Stacey Hammer says, the library is not a place just for high-level readers, but a space where all learners of all abilities can find common ground. Thank you.
I'm Alana, and I'm a library technician and a lead at the Seneca Sandbox.
So my name is Haley Wyman. I'm the User Services Librarian here at Seneca College, and I helped Alana out along the way with this project.
There were a few things that inspired these follow-up emails. We ended up going from having only live webinars where we would record each individual session to having a pre-recorded version. And we wanted to have a way to show that there was still value in our live workshop. We also found that there were just so many resources that we want to show during our sessions and mention that are useful, but it's difficult for a student to remember them all, especially later on when they come back and are working on their own projects. Also, administratively, there were quite a few steps for us before to get recordings and email, and we wanted to streamline that process. We ended up with custom emails for each of our workshop topics that would automatically be sent out to attendees an hour after the session was scheduled to end. This included a link to the recording, as that was very important to the students. We also wanted to have some custom content that was unique and only for people who had attended our workshops. We tried to make sure that we included links to all the resources we would mention in a workshop, but we also included things like videos, links to our assignment planner, and some custom video tips from our staff. We wanted to humanize our emails by using friendly, informal language. We also felt it was important to have those tip videos featuring our Sandbox staff so we would get some face time and they can see that there's a person behind the online support. We tried to time it so people would get the emails pretty quickly because we don't know how far ahead students are attending the workshop before their assignment. So that way, if they need it later, it's still there sitting in their inbox.
Well, we use LibCal, which is our way that we book all of our workshops. The students can go in and they can register and everything. We have templates set up that the staff just need to basically say we're teaching this workshop at this time and all the details get populated. What came from that as well, though, is the ability to create auto follow-up emails. So there is a setting in there that you could go in, and that's where we built our template so that all of that content went out automatically to all of our participants as long as they stayed registered in the session. The other tool that we used was Google Analytics, which we were again already using. It is used on all of our websites already. What we added on to track whether or not students were actually reading these emails and engaging with these emails was Google Campaigns, which allow us to identify that students got to our website from this set of emails. Now, we don't know which specific email it came from. It could be from one workshop or a different workshop because each workshop has their own unique email, but we do know that it came from one of those types of emails. We also don't know who did it. We did want to keep, anonymity, of course, but we do get to see whether or not students are reading and actually engaging with them. It's still very early for us because we did implement it near the end of the second half of the winter semester. So we didn't have too much engagement in our workshops at that point. We're very top heavy for our workshops. So we were definitely seeing that students were following through. We're able to see what pieces students are really interested in as well. So of course, how do you cite in digital assignments is a very popular link that does go out in those emails. We are hoping to provide even more customization in it. Right now, the exact same email goes out for the workshop. So if something different comes up, on Monday's workshop, nothing different goes out in the email. So we're hoping to start adding a little bit more customization based on the sessions and also based on who taught it. So if Alana teaches the session, they're going to get an email from Alana. We are hoping to streamline our analytics. So right now our analytics, we've got analytics in Google, we've got them in Google Analytics, we've got them in different Google Analytics sites as well. See it all in one place if students are actually doing it. And not just analytics, but also impact. So, okay, they opened up the email and they followed this link, but are they actually booking a research appointment from this? Like, is this having any impact on them? And just getting feedback from students to see if there is more content that's going to be useful to them to help the students along after the fact.